A new set of challenges await.
As a 6-year-old kid, and I was like, Dad, I'm gonna do it in the future. And you know, many 6-year-old kids have different dreams every week. Sometimes you want to be a policeman, the week after you want to be a fireman. But for me, it has never changed. I've been flying now for 26 years, and I still love it.
That's absolutely crazy that you just picked your direction and just stuck with it. I mean, your first flight lesson, you were 14 years old, and then by 16 you'd got your license. So there was definitely method in your madness. This was all moving towards where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I was so motivated. Like from this air show, I started playing with aircraft models, pre-flying models, and then I just went to the airport and I became what's known as a hangar rat, you know, cleaning the airplanes for everyone. And in exchange, they would take me for a flight and usually let me fly the aircraft, give me the first lessons. By the time I went solo at 16, I was over the moon. It's been a lot of hard work, but so rewarding as well.
Luke, we were just saying to you just then, flying was always going to be what you were going to do. And I'm going to give you a question, which I almost feel like I know what the answer is already. If you could be a car, a plane, a boat, or a motorbike, which would you be and why?
Yeah, of course I'd go for a plane, but you know, this is what my life is all about. It's always been about flying. I have 13,500 hours in the air. That's like 4 years of my life. 10% of my life has been spent in the air. So yeah, I just want to be a better pilot with every flight I take.
I'd love to know more about the bullseye stunt. I mean, we saw and heard it at the beginning of the episode. Personally, for me, I remember seeing that, and I watched the video and I had a heart attack and was like, oh my God, obviously I know that this guy made this happen because everyone's celebrating it, but I couldn't cope with it.
I almost had a heart attack on the first one as well. It was incredibly difficult project that we did. Landing a plane is such a short distance. It's not something very unusual for this kind of aircraft, but landing on a small helipad that is 600 feet in the air, you know, 200 meters above. Hasn't been done before. Difficulties is the shape of the building created very special wind vortices, like little tornadoes coming up the building.
I believe it is safe to say that so far this playlist is no picnic.
Hitting the helipad, and these tornadoes were to suck in my aircraft and throw it towards the building. And that's what happened on the...
Let's try that again.
The first two attempts when the winds were quite strong. So usually if you try to land short, you want a lot of wind because the wind will assist you. But not on a helipad. On a helipad, the less wind we had...
It's like it never happened.
It was easier to fly with the plane. So yeah, all in all, it took me like 650 practice landings before I went for the actual landing on the helipad, and the first two attempts on the helipad on a windy day, they were, yeah, not very successful, and then we had to reset and try again the day after, so that was quite challenging.
I feel like the stakes are quite high, especially when you're doing something like that as well. Not only are you on like the Red Bull World stage creating a moment in history, there's the practical element of it as well, of trying to land this thing on a really tall building.
Yeah, so for me, being the best pilot I can be, it's, you know, it's the most rewarding. I'm not doing any of this for fame or...
You may even think that we've already seen everything there is to see about muscle cars, and assume it can't get more intense than this. Well, hold on to that thought.
Or money or whatever. I'm just doing it to show that I'm good, and I always want to be the best I can be, and I think we proved with this project that was one of the toughest things I ever did with the plane, and now we can see how successful the project was. We have like way over 1 billion views on the videos all over the platforms. So.
That's brilliant. I mean, it's unbelievable. Now, for you guys that are listening at home, air sport, the sky is literally the limit with this. Aerobatics is a bit like acrobatics, except you're flying an aircraft. There's a lot of other things to consider though when you are flying. There's obviously safety, speed, weather. Luke, can you give us a rundown of like the 3 main things that you have to be watching out for when you attempt to do some aerobatics in the sky?
Yeah, I think first will be the weather. All our aircraft don't have very sophisticated instruments, so we have to fly what's known as VFR condition, visual flying rules. We always have to see the ground. We have to stay outside of the clouds, and the winds play a big factor. Then, of course, it's the technical standard of the aircraft. We always try to make sure that the aircraft is airworthy. Having an engine failure approaching a helipad so close to the building or flying upside down 2 meters above the runway, yeah, it's an extreme sport. So second, for sure, would be the technical side, and I think the third, but as equal as the other 2, would be, of course, pilot fitness, and we want to make sure I'm rested, I'm in a good physical condition. The G-forces is something that we fight with a lot. We fly from -8 Gs to +10, what it means I can get up to 10 times heavier, like weighing 80 kilos. I have 800 kilos of force hitting my body. The blood is 10 times heavier, and it drains away from the brain, goes towards my legs, and you can faint and you can lose your consciousness, and that can be, of course, very dangerous when you're close to the ground flying at 400 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, that does sound pretty crazy. I've seen some of the videos, where people, when they put passengers in the plane. That's why I'm frightened, Luke, when you said I can go in the plane. I'd be like, I'd pass out. I'd be rubbish. You'd be looking back, and I'd just be asleep in the back seat. Terrible. Luke, help us understand a little bit more about the specifics of your job. I mean, because what people need to know is obviously you compete in Red Bull Air Race as well, and that is a competition. So what are the skills and the awareness that you need to be able to do this?
Yeah, Red Bull Air Race was one of the best flying I ever had a chance to do, and you're flying aircraft at 400 kilometers per hour between gates which are only 15 meters apart. The entire track has like 6 kilometers length, and we fly it in under a minute sometimes, Incredible speeds. The aircraft can roll 420 degrees per second, but 0.8 second to make a full roll. You need to be incredibly precise and really good pilot in order to not to stay behind the plane. Really good hand-to-eye coordination, I think, is a key factor, and as well as physical fitness, because, we are so close to the ground, pulling high G-forces. If you lose your concentration for a couple of seconds, this can be really bad for you.
Can you tell us, how you came from, it's quite a small place in Poland that you grew up in, to how you managed to take those steps to becoming the amazing pilot that you are today?
I think it's all about the motivation. If you have a big goal set somewhere on the horizon, then you'll find a way to find the next step and next step. And it's all about those small steps that when you achieve them, they will keep you going. And, I didn't have a very rich parents to support me. To start gliding, I was doing building jobs, renovating the hangar, helping out around the Eurotab when I was 19.
We're going for a ruthless showdown way above the speed limit and way beyond your expectations. Plus, it's a chance to see just how far muscle car customization can go and how cool it can look.
I had to make some decisions about going to uni or maybe to the Air Force. The Air Force didn't recruit. I didn't have money for the uni. But I was so motivated, I applied for an au-pair program, and I became a babysitter at 19. I moved to the UK, and when the kids were at school, I would just run to the airport and help with the aircraft maintenance there. That's how I got my private pilot license for our aircraft, and I just kept going at it, and it was really, really good, giving me the motivation to go step by step.
What I was thinking to myself when I was listening to your story there, not everybody feels as comfortable as you would be flying a plane. I mean, much less racing or backflipping in one. What are your top 5 tips for anyone who wants to successfully fly a plane?
You need to love it. When I started flying, you can just imagine my disappointment. It's been my dream for many, many years. When I started flying, what I realized is that I'm getting motion sickness, and I was sick every single flight. But human body is so amazing, and it adapts that after a couple of months, I didn't have a problem. Yeah, there's been so many obstacles in my life that try to stop me from flying. But if you love it, you'll do it, and if you want to be good at it. And I'm thinking I'm a perfect example of someone going from zero to hero just because of my incredible motivation and drive to do things, and not a lot of financial support or anything from anyone else.
It's hard to explain to somebody who, when you want to do something so bad. I mean, I can only talk about drifting from my side, and it's like, you're like, I don't have the money to do this, but I know I'm going to make it happen, and I've got no choice, really. I've got to put myself on the track, or in your case, put yourself in the air. And
Send him on the ropes. Some serious curves are coming right off the bat. Eagle eye and try to keep your machine under control. Good. Send him on the ropes. Done. They don't stand a chance. You're off the winding part of the road. Now you can let the supercharged V8 do the talking. Probably figured out by now I'm a massive Shelby GT500 fan. But you're currently driving my meanest one, my special Jimbo Full Power Edition. One of the highlights of my collection. Calls to me in my sleep, it does. And it doesn't take no for an answer. The harbor real soon. Quickly closing in on the finish line. Don't you flinch now. You gotta dodge the obstacles, you know that? guns. That was quite the show. Now all that's left is the encore. Relax. Your machine is the best in the pack. Just keep your strings tuned. Some serious curves are coming right off the bat. Eagle eye and try to keep your machine under control. Solid driving, friend. You're off the winding part of the road. Now you can let the supercharged V8 do the talking. Now you probably figured out by now I'm a massive Shelby GT500 fan. But you're currently driving my meanest one, my special Jimbo Full Power Edition. Can you respect my car? That car is one of the highlights of my collection. Calls to me in my sleep, it does. And it doesn't take no for an answer.
Be kind.
That's it. Take what's yours. You're gonna reach the harbor real soon. Quickly closing in on the finish line. Don't you flinch now. up your guns.
It's like it never happened.
That was quite the show. Now all that's left is the encore.
Back to the interview. Got no choice really. I've got to put myself on the track, or in your case, put yourself in the air, and that's kind of it. And you sort of just make it happen. You just have to push and push and push, and everything when you wake up every single day.
You now know muscle cars have been around since the second half of the 20th century, but somehow we've yet to get you one of the classic oldies.
You have that one thought in mind, you're able to make it happen, I think.
Absolutely, and you know it will drive you to find ways to do it, like buy another set of tires or buy another hour of flying. There's been
Well, at Jim's request, we decided to catch you on the fly and save the origin story for the grand finale. There's an absolute classic heading your way, a grail among collectors and Jim's greatest pride, the Mustang Boss 429.
and I was working 12 to 14-hour days, 7 days a week.
Prepare for the centerpiece of American muscle car history.
You know, working 2 or 3 different jobs sometimes, just to pay for another hour of flying and another flying lesson, and yeah, it's been worth it.
Well, let's talk about the Carbon Cub UL. I mean, we've just obviously heard the noise of it. This is the plane that you use for the bullseye stunt, as well as the Edge 540, which is a single-seater and 2-seater. These are the planes that you use for competition and day-to-day life. I'm feeling nosy. If I was to take a look inside these vehicles, what would be some exciting features that I would find?
I think for someone who's into car racing, drifting, or rallies, I think the power-to-weight ratio is quite impressive. The aircraft that we landed on the helipad, it weighs 900 pounds, or for those of you in Europe, 400 kilos, and it has 230 horsepower. It's got the nitrous in it, like some of the racing cars, and with a flick of a switch, I can get my engine to get a 50 horsepower extra to go around. The aerobatic aircraft, I have a 10-liter engine which develops 350 horsepower. The aircraft that weighs just over 600 kilos, you know, so the power-to-weight ratio, it's close to Bugatti Veyron, I would say, and that's what allows me to fly the aircraft vertically up and achieve 400 kilometers per hour in the race aircraft, or thanks to a massive big wing, I can fly as slowly as 50 kilometers per hour in the Carbon Cub. So, yeah, out of those two, it's really hard to say which one is my favorite, but yeah, those two are extremely different and opposite to each other. One was made to go fast, the other one was like a rock crawler, slow going, and but I love them both. It's like choosing your favorite child.
How are you sort of refining and modifying these planes to keep up with the demands of the sport? I mean, I know we're always putting, you know, different superchargers or turbochargers on our cars to make it faster. Like, our sport is constantly evolving, so there's always modifications that you need to do in order to keep them up to spec. Is it the same for planes?
We'd love to modify them. It's not so easy to modify the aircraft because there's a lot more regulations that you have to comply with. The Carbon Cub that I used for Dubai, this one has been quite heavily modified from the original. Like, we removed the fuel tanks, which are usually situated in the wings, when we put them in the back of the plane to have the center of gravity as low and as far back. That would give me better braking. We designed a carbon fiber belly cover that would protect the aircraft in case I strike the edge of the helipad with my tail. It was like a big bumper, and of course we had nitrous in it. So I felt like Fast and Furious.
That's proper, having nitrous in a plane. I'd never even heard of that. Do you have to keep the gas bottle up there as well? Like, that's quite heavy.
Yeah, but the bottle was also in the bag. That was further enhancement to the center of gravity. So.
Well, speaking of nitrous and cars and everything involved in that, you once raced your plane against Ben Collins in an F1 car. Can you tell us how this came about and who won the race? Was it the plane or the car?
Yeah, so we raced the BMW Sauber against my Edge 540 at one of the air shows in Poland. Stig was the driver, and I have to say I'm very proud that I really kicked his ass.
Perfect. Love it.
After 2 laps, I had to go at idle to try to make it look like we finished close. But yeah, I won it, and I won it with a big margin.
Are there any other memorable stunts that we should know about? And how do these help you become a better competitor? I mean, we've all seen the bullseye stunt because that was just unbelievable. But is there any other ones that sort of stick out in your mind as that was a good day at work?
Yeah, for sure. I think my first big project with Red Bull was flying under the bridges in Warsaw. Me and the Czech pilot Martin Sonka, we flew under 3 bridges in Poland trying to paint a Polish flag on the Polish National Flag Day. Then I landed on the historic wooden pier in Sopot in one of the Polish famous cities. And that was the project that gave me idea for the bullseye landing later. I also had some fun flying with some of our skydivers, like Game of Air with Maja Kuczynska, where I was chasing a skydiver with my plane, flying around her.
Casual.
Yeah, another day at work,
It's another day in the office.
And I have to say it's the best office view you can get, even when I fly the big commercial plane.
We're going to talk about dream vehicles right now. Everybody's got a dream vehicle. Today is your lucky day, Luke. You've been given a ticket to test fly any type of aircraft that your heart desires. Which model would you choose and where would you take it?
I would go for a classic. Like for a lot of car lovers, they would go for a 1960s Mustang or a Bullitt Charger. I would go for a Mustang as well. But it's a P-51 Mustang. It's an American-built fighter from the Second World War. And the aircraft is absolutely incredible. It's fast. It looks very good. For those of you who watched the latest Top Gun movie with Tom Cruise, that's the plane, the silver plane that he was cleaning in his hangar. And I know he's got one. And I hope that's a plane that I will fly one day.
I feel like an old Mustang like that would sound absolutely unbelievable. Like when I think of vintage cars, what I love about it is the smell, is the sound, these sort of big displacement engines with straight through exhaust. Are we talking the same language here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a V12 engine.
Wow.
I don't know the capacity from my head, but that must be like 20-something liters capacity there. You're operating at 1,000 horsepower plus, and straight out exhaust. When it starts up, you can see the flames coming out of the exhaust manifold, and the sound is absolutely incredible.
Aside from planes, what are some of the other memorable vehicles that you've tried or seen or even thought, I really want one of those?
Oh, God, there's so many.
I know, that's such a hard question. It's just I don't know, Becky. There's 50 that I've seen over the years.
I love I'm a very competitive person, so whatever you put me in, I'll do my best to win it. Like go-karts, don't get me even started in go-karts, because I'll be right there running into everyone just to win the race. And I think I'd love to be a race car driver, to compete with in racing cars, and Formula One would be fun to drive. I would love to drive one of those, and I'd go for Formula One.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I love the fact that we're actually really similar in a sense that car people and aeroplane people still like the old stuff. We're like the new, all carbon, super slick. That's great, but where our heart really lies is in the old school, in the big V12, V16s, V10. That's me. V8s, V10s. all of the old school stuff. So I'm delighted that there is that crossover between different sports, but the same feeling, right?
Absolutely. You know, the sound of the old V8s, V12s makes you so sentimental. I don't know. It makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up when I hear one of those.
Do you know, sometimes they would do like an air show where I think it was the old school bombers that would come, like the Spitfires would come down over the drag racing track when I was a kid. So I grew up around drag racing, and they would play.
Our final show. Let's get loud. That's the power I'm talking about. Don't let these guys make the rules.
Let's call this a do-over.
You're driving my #1 car, the star of my collection, the 1969 Mustang Boss 429. Name speaks for itself. One of the oldest muscle cars. Still one of the greatest, too, honestly. Well done. They don't stand a chance. Well done. They don't stand a chance. That's it. Take what's yours.
One more time. Let's just rewind that one.
That's the power I'm talking about. Over that gig.
Remix. Let's just rewind that one.
Good. Send them on the ropes.
like it never happened.
Second lap with no second guessing. Keep it real. The boss is an icon. It shaped the golden age of muscle cars from the 60s to the early 70s. This was one of the top dogs. The age when these cars stopped being called hot rods or drag racing cars and became muscle cars. That's right. Even though the hot rodding mindset had been around since the early 50s, it wasn't until the 60s that the term muscle car popped up, embodying an entire generation's rebellious state of mind. Time, if you were into muscle cars or just into cars in general, the place to be was Detroit. Man. Ever heard of Woodward Avenue? A renowned street for car duels back in the day.
Remix.
Third lap. Let's end this with a proper charge. Show them who's the boss.
Rewind that one. One more time.
Wow, train wreck!
now know muscle cars have been around since the second half of the 20th century, but somehow we've yet to get you one of the classic oldies.
The podcast is back on. Our guest still has plenty of things to say.
Prepare for the centerpiece of American muscle car history.
Spitfires would come down over the drag racing track when I was a kid, so I grew up around drag racing, and the planes would come over the track. I actually got emotional. I'm not quite sure why. When you see big planes like that when they're flying, and like the noise and the feeling in your chest, it makes you emotional, and I'm not entirely sure why. And that's from somebody who's like a casual consumer of airplanes.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I think that's why they still fly. It's thanks to people like us who love them and who love the sound of them, and will go and pay for the ticket to the airshow to see them. That's what keeps them flying. And they are 1940s, 1950s aircraft, and there's still quite a few of them maintained by very passionate people for everyone else to enjoy, and we've got to be really thankful for that and hope they will fly another 70 years.
Right, I'm going to jump into some rapid fire questions with you, Luke, and I want you to say the first thing that comes to your mind, okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, flying by day versus flying by night.
Day.
Favorite weather conditions?
Cumulus cloud. Just
Takeoff or landing?
Takeoff.
Do you sometimes talk to your planes?
Oh yeah, always. After each flight, of course the small planes, I don't talk to the Airbus too much, but after each flight in the edge or the carbon cap, when I put it back in the hangar, I will go and stroke it and thank it for a nice flight. And it's a very personal relationship that I have with all three planes I have.
I love that. In terms of runways, which do you prefer and why? Concrete, asphalt, grass, or sand?
Last week was first time I landed on sand in Huntington Beach, and that was a lot of fun to land on the beach. But I would say concrete, it's pretty cool because, for the racer on the small wheels, it's the smoothest and it doesn't hurt the plane a lot.
Favorite music tracks or artists that you like to listen to while you're training, competing, and chilling?
I think Korn for the hardcore stuff, like
that was
training.
Unexpected.
Some old heavy metal, but for chilling, sometimes I do like to listen to classical music.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Luke. You know what? It's been a real insight. I've never spoken to a pilot before, and I feel like you've put my fear of flying a little bit to...
Our final show. Let's get loud. You're driving my #1 car, the star of my collection, the 1969 Mustang Boss 429. The name speaks for itself. One of the oldest muscle cars. Still one of the greatest, too, honestly. my car. Second lap, but no second guessing. Keep it real. The boss is an icon. It shaped the golden age of muscle cars from the 60s to the early 70s. This was one of the top dogs. The age when these cars stopped being called hot rods or drag racing cars and became muscle cars. Eyes on the road. That's right. Even though the hot rodding mindset had been around since the early 50s, it wasn't until the 60s that the term muscle car popped up, embodying an entire generation's rebellious state of mind. At that time, if you were into muscle cars or just into cars in general, the place to be was Detroit. Man. Ever heard of Woodward Avenue? A renowned street for car duels back in the day. You got this, don't slow down. Third lap. Let's end this with a proper charge. Show them who's the boss. Solo, give the audience what they deserve. Dude, enough noodling. The muscle car spirit in you. Actually, I know 2 words. You rock. Catch you later.
It's time to reap your reward. Your vehicle is ready for you to claim.
The podcast
The muscle car spirit can be described in many ways, but nothing speaks to it better than a head-on encounter with the chrome itself. I hope you've enjoyed this wild experience to its fullest.
continues. Take a little bit to rest there. It's amazing that you've got such a passion for old vehicles. You know, I don't.
As much as Jim would have liked to stick around, his expertise and passion are already requested elsewhere. But he left a special note for you. It says, "Never thought riding passenger could be this much fun. Keep on rocking. Yes, hope you'll dig the souvenir."
I think whatever sport you're in, you always look to what was, which is what creates what is, and I love that we can connect on that. So thank you so much for joining me.
A pleasure, and you need to pick me up and go for fight together.
Motorfest, the podcast. Thanks for joining me.
A pleasure, and you need to take me up on the offer of flying together, so I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Okay, do you know what? We'll do that. I'll come and fly with you, and I'll take you out in my S15. She's a great girl, but we'll 4 wheels on the ground for me.
Let's complete this playlist.
And we'll do 4 wheels in the air for you.
That's a deal.
That's it for today's episode of Motorfest, the podcast.
Now that you've met the donut team, you probably have a better idea of what you're getting into. But trust me, you're still in for a few surprises.
I'm Becky Evans. You can find me on all podcast platforms. You can also just check out YouTube, just type in my name and you'll find me. So make sure that you get yourself on the game with Crew Motorfest from Ubisoft, and we'll see you guys on the next episode soon.
I would say I use like a jet, like you can see the fire from the exhausts, like full time. We risk our life, but it is what it is, and hopefully you get a good machines. I want to have like proper missile and how do you say, the minigun.
Yeah.
Minigun.